Nestled deep in a valley lay the village of Oakhaven. It was a place forgotten by time. The houses were old, their paint peeling. The streets were cobbled and uneven, and over the village loomed a dark presence. It stood on a hill overlooking the houses below. The old Blackwood Manor. Blackwood Manor was once grand. Now it was a ruin. Its windows were dark eyes, its walls were crumbling. No one dared to go near it, not anymore. The villagers whispered about the mansion. They said it was haunted. They spoke of strange noises at night, footsteps echoing in the empty halls, and a chilling, mournful cry that sent shivers down their spines. Most villagers avoided the mansion. They warned their children to stay away, but the stories persisted, passed down through generations, each tale more chilling than the last. Blackwood Manor held a dark secret, and it was about to be revealed. A thick fog often clung to the manor. It seemed to seep from its very walls. The air around it always felt heavy, oppressive. Some said the fog carried whispers, whispers of the past, whispers of the secrets the manor held. The wind howled through the broken windows. It made the old house moan like a living thing in pain. Those who dared to venture near the manor claimed to feel a cold presence, an unseen observer watching their every move. They spoke of icy fingers trailing down their spines, and a feeling of dread that clung to them long after they left. One stormy night, a young man named Arjun arrived in Oakhaven. He was a traveller, passing through on his way to a distant city. The storm had caught him off guard, and night was falling fast. The wind howled, rain lashed down. The road ahead was quickly becoming impassable. Arjun needed shelter, and fast. He asked the villagers for help, but they shook their heads. They offered him no comfort, no place to stay. Their eyes were filled with fear, and their faces were pale. "Don't go near that house," one old woman croaked. "It's cursed, I tell you, cursed." Arjun had no choice. He had to find shelter. He pulled his coat tighter around him, and he made his way up the hill towards Blackwood Manor. The old iron gates creaked open as if warning him away. He stepped onto the overgrown path. Each step was heavy, as if he were walking through mud. Lightning flashed, illuminating the manor for a fleeting moment. Arjun saw the boarded-up windows, the crumbling walls, and he felt a shiver run down his spine. He pushed open the heavy oak door. It groaned in protest. The air inside was stale and cold, thick with dust and the smell of decay. Arjun stepped inside, and the door slammed shut behind him. He was trapped. Section 5, A Stairway to Fear. Arjun found himself in a grand entrance hall. Cobwebs hung from every corner, dust covered every surface. He could hear the wind howling outside, rattling the shutters, and something else. Footsteps, slow and heavy, coming from upstairs. Arjun froze. His heart pounded in his chest. He listened intently. The footsteps came again, closer this time. Someone was up there. But who? He cautiously made his way to the foot of the grand staircase. The steps creaked under his weight. He glanced up into the darkness above. Shadows danced in the flickering candlelight. He felt a cold hand grip his heart. Section 6, Face to Face with Fear. Step by step, Arjun climbed the stairs. His hand gripped the rusted railing. Each step brought him closer to the source of the sound, closer to the unknown. He reached the top of the stairs. A long, dark hallway stretched out before him. At the end of the hall, a single door stood ajar. A sliver of pale moonlight peeked through the opening. The footsteps seemed to be coming from behind that door. Arjun approached slowly. His hand trembled as he reached for the doorknob. He took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The room was dark except for a single rocking chair bathed in moonlight and a dusty old mirror hanging on the wall. He stepped inside. As he did, he saw a movement in the mirror, a pale figure standing behind him. Its eyes were hollow and its mouth was open in a silent scream. Section 7. A Mother's Plea. Arjun spun around, but there was nothing there. The room was empty. He turned back to the mirror. The figure was gone. He was alone, or so he thought. Suddenly, the temperature in the room plummeted. Arjun's breath formed icy clouds in the air. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest. He was gripped by a terror he had never known, and then he heard it. A voice whispering in his ear, "Help me!" Arjun's eyes flew open. He was lying on the cold stone floor of the mansion's entrance hall. Villagers stood over him, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and concern. He had been found unconscious at the foot of the stairs. "The ghost," he stammered. "I saw the ghost." An old man with kind eyes helped him to his feet. "It's all right, son," he said gently. "We know about the ghost. She means no harm. She's just looking for her lost child." Arjun listened intently as the villagers told him the story. The story of a mother who had lost her child many years ago. They said the child had died in the mansion, and that the mother's spirit had remained, searching endlessly for her lost little one. Section 8. The search begins. Arjun couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to help. He had seen the despair in the ghost's eyes, heard the desperation in her voice. He knew he couldn't just walk away. He decided to stay in the village, to try and find the child's remains. He knew it wouldn't be easy. The mansion was vast, and he had no idea where to start. Days turned into nights as Arjun meticulously searched the manor. He scoured every room, every nook and cranny. He followed every cold spot, every whisper of the wind, hoping for a sign, a clue, anything that would lead him to the child. Section 9. Finding Peace. Finally, after weeks of searching, Arjun discovered a hidden room in the attic. It was concealed behind a bookcase, its entrance masked by years of dust and cobwebs. The room was small and dark. A single ray of sunlight pierced through a crack in the boarded-up window, illuminating a small wooden toy chest in the center of the room. Arjun's heart pounded as he approached the chest. He knew in his gut what he would find inside. He slowly lifted the heavy lid. Inside lay a small, delicate skeleton. The skeletal fingers clutched a worn teddy bear. Tears welled up in Arjun's eyes. He gently lifted the remains and cradled them in his arms. That night, under the pale moonlight, Arjun buried the child's remains beneath a gnarled oak tree behind the manor. As he laid the small skeleton to rest, he felt a cold presence beside him. He didn't need to turn around to know who it was. "Thank you," whispered the voice. This time it wasn't filled with sadness, but with peace. Arjun watched as a soft, ethereal glow emanated from the gravesite, rising higher and higher until it faded into the night sky. The mother and child were finally reunited. Section 10. A New Dawn. The next morning, the village of Oakhaven awoke to a sight they had never seen before. Sunlight streamed through the windows of Blackwood Manor, casting a warm glow over the village below. The fog that had clung to the manor for so long had vanished. The villagers cautiously approached the manor, their fear replaced with a sense of hope. They entered the old house and found it filled with light. The air was no longer heavy, but fresh and clean. The oppressive atmosphere was gone, replaced by a sense of peace. Blackwood Manor was no longer a place of fear. It was a place of remembrance, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail, and that even in death, love never truly dies. And as the sun set on the village of Oakhaven, casting long shadows across the now peaceful manor, the villagers knew that the ghost of Blackwood Manor was finally at rest.